Kim Schofield, welcome to the Marketing for Business podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I know we're going to have a fantastic chat because, for two reasons, we're talking about two of my favorite subjects, marketing and wine. You're the managing partner and owner of Dancing Water Wines. And look, I love it. It's so nice. And we're going to get into a whole bunch of it. But I really appreciate you coming on because I know you're a busy person as well. We met at the Inspire Foundation. You're one of the Inspire Foundation's, I guess, major sponsors to some degree. I'd love to know a little bit. You wrote a post, or we wrote a post for the Inspire Foundation, but it was a quote that you made. And you said it's an honor to play a meaningful role in helping young Kiwis chase their dreams. So why are you involved with the Inspire Foundation?
Well, it's an interesting story, the background to it. So I met Paul Wright, the chairman of the Inspire Foundation, on a flight. And he was incredibly passionate about his organisation and what they did. And he invited me along to the event and to see the grantees receiving the funding. And it really, just totally touched my heart. You know, the thing that I love the most is that it's not only making a difference to young people following their dreams, but everyone in the room just feels amazing. You know? Yeah. And I think
it's aptly named Inspire Foundation, right?
You can't get away from the word inspire. Everyone talks, you know, they come back and they go, we're so uplifted and inspired. And people send me messages and say, thanks for inviting me along. I'm inspired. And it
is a great event to invite people along to, isn't it? Like, it's one of those ones that you just know, and it doesn't matter what event they go to. You just know they're gonna be inspired.
Totally.
And that's, I guess, the reason why you now are, a major sponsor, and you definitely. It's actually cool to see you up there giving out the awards and stuff as well. Like that's so pretty cool.
It's so much fun, and I think the arrangement that we have, we're only a little, especially then, a couple of years ago, we're a very small wine company, and so it was quite a big commitment to even initially just doing the gifting for the raffles and moving into the auction prizes and supporting the event. So I said to Paul, well, having spoken to him about some of the things that he's achieved in his career, I was really motivated by that and asked him to be my mentor.
Nice.
So part of the arrangement is that he's my mentor and I support and inspire.
So good.
And it's been a complete game changer for my business.
Yeah. What a win-win.
Oh, incredible. Yeah, I wouldn't have imagined that it would work out that well. So it's great.
Yeah. And look, I know.
Although I'm sure he's got times where he thinks, I wonder what I've actually taken on here. Look, it's not easy, for him.
Yeah. Oh, look, I think it's a win-win, and I know the Inspire Foundation really, really appreciates everything you do. Let's talk about some things, though. Sure. I'm going to talk about branding today. I want to talk about marketing, especially to a high-end market. I want to talk about some of the awards that you've won. So we're going to have a really good chat, and a really good chat for business owners. I think this is a good one to listen to about spotting opportunities, because I guess I wanted to discover from you where your passion for the wine industry came from, but also how you spotted an opportunity to create rosé, which if we're honest in New Zealand, and I've said this to you and you've said this to me, New Zealand rosé was kind of an afterthought compared to the French rosé, right?
Yeah.
So you now though are creating award-winning world-class rosé out of New Zealand, competing with the world. But where did it start? How did you have this vision? And because I think it's a cool story as well.
Oh yeah, I think it's just a range of factors that started the journey. It was COVID, and I was able to. We have a number of businesses, and one of them was Dancing Water, and it was just in the beginning stages of our ownership, and there was some wine that had been made, and I was able to sell it. We were essential, so I could deliver wine. So it was the perfect situation, right? Like, I missed talking to people, so I could stand at the end of the driveway talking to my friends, yelling, and they were buying my wine, and they all said, "Oh, Kim, could you make us a rosé, a really good rosé? We're just going to France, and we think that you could do it." Now, I just had no idea that in that. There were a couple of things that happened. One was that it's one thing to make wine that your friends will drink. It is a completely different story having wine that they will pay for.
So true.
And my friends, being as fabulous as they are, very, very, very high standards. So I'd inadvertently found my market, which was cool, which is a great way to start with marketing, is to find your market quite easily, because they all said they were very clear about what they wanted. Great New Zealand rosé, but I had no idea that in order to meet their quality, taste, all of their requirements, that we would actually be changing the New Zealand rosé market and hitting the world stage inadvertently, because I just wanted to make wine that would make everyone happy.
So did you take their request seriously? You were like, right, I could do this, or were you like, oh, I've got no idea how to do this? What was the thought process?
Well, the first part was that I didn't want to tell my husband, and I thought that he would think, well, it's ridiculous making, having a little vineyard with such high costs, making rosés frivolous. So we secretly made the 2019.
Is that because rosé is more expensive to make, or what?
Oh, well, the thing, when in a small block like we've got, I mean, we've grown since then, but the costs are so high, the initial costs of running a vineyard, that we really had to be making, $55 plus Pinot Noir.
That people are going to buy.
People are going to buy, we can make some money, right? So
understand it, get it. Like, I'm going to pay that money for a Pinot. Probably not going to pay that money for a rosé.
Correct, yes. And so I made it in secret.
Wow.
And I don't even know if, even to this day, if anyone knows
he
about
does
that.
now.
He does now. And so I went to the winemaker and I said, oh, could we make a rosé? And he said, oh, we had a small amount of Pinot Noir that we could use, and he discussed the different ways we could do it. And I just said, well, at that point, I didn't know anything. I said, I'd just go ahead and make it. And we didn't even have the right equipment. So we were making our wine at Mountford Estate, which was next door, and we had access to everything, but we didn't actually have our own tanks.
Wow.
So we made it in an old barrel, which gave it kind of like a wheaty tone.
Which
is not so French. But strangely enough, a few people did like it. Yeah. And I was able to sell the entire pallet to a restaurant in Wellington without anyone knowing, because I couldn't drink it. And I thought, well, this is the sad truth. I thought, I'm sure this wine is fine and interesting, and the people that own these restaurants in Wellington really enjoyed it, but it wasn't for me. So I knew I couldn't give it to my friends, and I hadn't told my husband, so I quickly sold it. The whole pallet.
And was it sold under the dancing?
Yeah, under an old label. It was really dark. It was sort of quite nothing like what we've done now. So I parked that up and kind of tried to forget about it. And then towards 2021, we had a new and it was working with a consultant winemaker. So part of our vision was to create the motto was wine that our friends would drink. And we were going to focus on making really good wine. And again, I knew that he wouldn't be that fussed on rosé. And we had a wine. We have a particular grape in the bottom block, which is the Shoy Rebe.
So you just to give people a location of the area. You're in Waipara.
Yes, next to Greystone.
Next to Greystone. So a lot of people would know Waipara, as far as, there's a lot of vineyards up there. But at the time, this place wasn't really a vineyard when you took it over, right? Let's get to that story as well, because you actually, you've done a lot here when it comes to what this place was. Right?
Yeah, it wasn't great. Like the first time I went there on my own, there was no signage and it was so run down, and all I could think of was, this is not Craigie Range. This is this is not Napa. Nothing. And I kept driving. I didn't even want to stop.
Oh, really?
It was whatever that was. I'm like, if this is the place, I'm not staying. I'm just going to keep driving.
Going. So you didn't though. So what made that happen? Because if you didn't stop, we wouldn't be having this conversation, right? But you did stop.
Well, I think that creating that first rosé. And seeing my friends love it, and I enjoyed it myself, and I named it after a friend. And
was that the Georgie? Yeah.
And it sold out in a matter of weeks. So I think that's kind of, if you look back at it all, that feeling of creating a product that you knew everyone would love,
Yeah.
that looked beautiful. I think that was the other thing.
Yeah.
We made sure that it looked
Yeah.
gorgeous on the table.
So was that the wine that came from the back end of the block? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That people were telling me to pull out.
Yeah. That it was no good, right?
No good. They said it's no one's drinking Riesling. It's a type of Riesling, and it's late ripening, so it's quite a risk to get it to ripen. And so I just said, well, could we try and make a rosé out of it? And what we did was we made a base white wine, and then we added Pinot Noir to make it to give it the blush color. So it's a blend, but the Pinot doesn't give it any flavor, just color. And so the best part about that was that it was technically a white wine made pink. And so we had real input and commitment from the winemaking team. Everyone was excited about making this base wine. They sort of saw it, we called it the Georgie rather than the rosé. So it was the Georgie block. So we renamed the Shiraz block to the Georgie. So it took on a personality, and so we all fell in love with Georgie. When we had a few tough harvests, vintages, Georgie wasn't so loved. But yeah.
But that wine's gone on to win awards now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that. But so you've discovered this area, and you've discovered, what you can now turn into, a business. That must be exciting, but also daunting at the same time. Because let's be real clear, vineyards in New Zealand have been probably doing it a little bit tough, and all of a sudden you've come out of the gate and created a different brand, a different, not that many people are making rosé in New Zealand.
No.
Right? And all of a sudden you're doing it, and you're doing it really, really well. I guess, what do you think the secret sauce is?
Oh, the direct sales model, I think, to be able to be profitable from the get-go. I think the two things that were the secret. One was making wine that people wanted to drink.
Yeah. So good product.
Good product, but also quality, but also I think you can make great wine that people don't necessarily want to drink a lot of it. They can enjoy a glass.
Yes.
But part of the magic in this wine is that it is it's a beautiful summer drink that you can have it on its own or with a meal. So it was a unique. I think it was unique in that regard. I think that it was profitable because we sell direct. We couldn't have made a $25 rosé that would be winning awards and sold it through a supermarket or a distributor, because that meant that we'd be getting $7 for the wine, and then still got to pay excise. And so at $25, if I sell that wine for $25, I get $25. The same way if I was selling a $75 bottle of rosé at the supermarket, I'd be getting $25.
Yeah,
and that's the making money. So you can make money. You can make money if using that model, but I couldn't have made it any other. And if your business is profitable or successful in whichever way you measure that, then you are prepared to do all the things that go with growing it. But if you have a baseline where you're not making any money, and you've got to get your way to a certain level of volume, like I think the general rule of thumb for a wine company, it's 10 years to break even. Wow. And we broke even after 2.
Yeah.
And then there's a saying that the first 200 years of a wine company are the hardest.
So true.
And that was Baron Rothschild that said that. So
classic old paradigms, right? Like you look at it, you've taken to a different model. Like I've go to Miami 3 times a year. 2 times I go to the same supermarket, and I've seen New Zealand wine in Cloudy Bay selling for $12.95. Went back last year. Last year it was $12.90. Like you, I struggle with. They're not making any money on any of that, right? No. And the stacked high. There's no marketing gone behind it. There's no story anymore.
There's no money. You're basically paying. Well, in the volume game, I suppose that you get such a high volume that it does work to a point. But I think that from a quality point of view, that's the other thing, right? With that $25 for the Georgie, for example. a good chunk of that is actually quality ingredients.
Yeah.
And so I personally think that that the desire to make wine, big volume wine generally, rosé just didn't fit into that kind of Sauvignon Blanc picture. And so I think that potentially it was just a part of the market that was unrealised. But it's expensive. I think even for other New Zealand wine producers, the reason they haven't done it is that if you were, again, like I was saying, if you're selling through a distributor, you couldn't afford to make wine the quality that I'm doing it. So we've kind of got a unique position in the market.
Yeah. And direct sales, what was the idea behind that? Why did you choose that model?
Because I didn't have any marketing budget, and so I just said, and I knew that my friends liked it, so if I sold to my friends, but that is way harder than I thought. Like it was cost effective, but it's quite tough because you've got to create a point of difference, and so we were working on the same day delivery model in Auckland and to a larger extent down here, but or overnight, but we and I still think that if you order wine towards the end of the week that you want it for the weekend, like I know it doesn't sound that big a deal, but I think if you buy wine online and you get it straight away, how exciting! So that was our original marketing plan, was just to exceed everyone's
people would
expectations.
have been surprised, right?
Oh,
All of a sudden they get
love
this. Yeah. You spent a bit of money though, I guess, on your branding. You really have worked hard, and look, some people would say some of your bottles are like works of art. So was that, obviously that was a conscious decision that you wanted to give that wow factor in the bottle and in the branding?
Yeah, I wanted everything I've done. I've gone back to myself and my girlfriends and parties and celebrating and again, sometimes a little bit of naivety is good, but I wanted the wine to look good on the table. Yep. And it was just one less job. If you've got a party and the wine and the beautiful silver or rose gold labels and look so pretty, it was sort of one less thing to think about with your party. And equally with the artworks with the Chardonnay and the Pinot Noir, that they look good in a winter setting. And so the branding was, oh my golly, that is that label, that beautiful labels, that embossing. That was our beginning of our brand story. People associated that label costs more to produce than most people's rosés. So I remember thinking, gosh, that's a bit of work. And they had to invent. I had spent some time prior to this in the print industry, so I knew a bit about it. And I knew that you can wow with print. And the guys at Rapid Labels designed a process for us to create. So there's like 3 processes to give the silver and the rose gold that lift and bounce off the label. And so there's a real connection with that.
But so there's some real factors working there. Like, it's easy to gloss over, but the fact that you committed to same day delivery, that's huge, right? Like people.
We were busy. We were delivering till like 8 o'clock at night.
But to get a wow factor in a business, you have to do things differently, right? Yeah. All of a sudden you spent money on the bottle and the label to get a wow factor, and they are key things that most people will gloss over because it's too hard, and we're going to spend our money elsewhere. Yeah. And that's old paradigm thinking, I think, and like this is bringing a new thinking to an industry that has a lot of old thinking around it, because that's the way it's always been done. So I think that's exciting because you also then started to sell online, right? Yeah. And you're in some high end shopping.
Valentine's. So we knew we couldn't have a retail strategy or too much of a presence where there were multiple price, margin points, whatever. But I think Valentine's has got a really special place. Yeah, and
totally
for all of us, it's part of your childhood to go and visit Valentine's, and in fact, my daughter's coming up to 21, and my first her first outfit, when I just found out she was pregnant, I went into Valentine's. I was down and I was living in Auckland at the time, and I went into Valentine's and went to the baby section for this whole cute little outfit, like fur coat and all the gear. And anyway, so I love that place. And I got to know, I was renovating the house down here, I got to know everyone at Valentine's by name. And after a while, they were like, "Oh, Kim, you should really have your wine here." And I was so... Golly, people often say, what's the imposter syndrome moment?
Yeah.
Oh, it would have to be that. And
wow.
My next door neighbour, she has a gin company, so it was easier for me to talk to them about her gin company than it was about my wine, because I don't know, it was just, it was, but they were so fabulous. So they tasted it and tried it, and then and now we've got our whole entire range in there, and it's great.
It's just another good thing, How have you found selling online? Like, what's been some of the keys there?
Well, up until recently, like even last week, pretty much all of our customers have been friends or friends of friends.
Yep.
So, and because we didn't have the budget or the marketing plan to get into that, but then we started advertising last week, and in the first 2 days, we had 11 new customers.
Nice.
And so, and for the viewers, so Scott had told me that this was going to work. He told me a year ago, and I was so nervous about my brand and about getting the story right, and I didn't want to over promote or affect what we were doing. I wasn't sure how that was all going to fit into play, but I'll give you you were right.
You say that again?
So right. You were so right. You were so right. But,
look, I think when you've got a good product, you've got a good story, you're naturally going to attract other people that want to buy into that. Yeah. Obviously, in your industry though, you've got to have supply. Yeah. And that's one of the key things as well. And you want to have security of supply. You can't just go out there and sell it, and then all of a sudden, you can't. No, people can't drink it. When you look at your your branding and your marketing, what's some of the key factors that you will never compromise on?
I think that one of the things, the wine, I had a lot of coaching or training regarding wine in those first couple of years from a wine consultant. He said the first thing we have to do, Kim, is make sure that the wine is right.
Yep.
And the only thing that from any product, I think any product that we buy our shoes or a car or a jacket or anything, it's quality. And I think that I'll never compromise on quality. And it's really tough. Like we hand harvest.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's only clean fruit. So we worked out that if you only use the cleanest fruit, premium fruit, normally used for Pinot Noir or other premium wines, we get a better outcome for a number of reasons. One is that the winemaking team get really excited about working with beautiful clean fruit, and the flavours are better. They're less intervention, less chemical, and so quality. So our approach, I'll never compromise on. So when you think of Dance and Water Rosé, that people will know that it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter which one they drink, it will be good, because part of that supply thing is we've had to source from multiple vineyards, which means we've got 7 rosés.
Yeah.
So there aren't many wine companies in the world that have got 7 rosés. And so the method behind that is that it was supply, but everyone had to get that quality. We could have taken other ways of doing it, but it would have just ended up like everyone else.
Yeah, so 7 rosés is a real positioning as well, right? Like, it's probably a headache as well. But once again, it's positioning the brand. Look, I know you make other ones as well, but do you really want to get known now for rosé? That's your thing, because I know you like, and then we'll talk about the awards that you've won recently. Can you really see like that is the market you can take, not only in New Zealand, but you could take it globally?
Yeah, I think that there are 2 things. One is that we want to be known for our rosé, but I also think that the other thing I want from the brand is for it to be part of a community. I know that sounds a little bit cliched. Everyone goes, everything's a community. It's all about connection and community. But from the thing that I find if all of our wines are great,
Yep.
then we've broken. There's a rule in wine that the average household has a connection to 6 wine brands,
Wow.
and I thought about that, and I thought, why is that? And you think, well, if generally most wine companies have a hero,
Yep.
and so you would have a particular brand that you like their wine, and so you have 6 heroes, so you have 6 vineyards that you might know, and you think, oh, I like Hawke's Bay Chardonnay, or I like Central Targo Pinot Noir, or whatever, and so you choose a vineyard. And so I wanted to change that. I thought, well, why can't we have all of our wines be exceptional and shift it up? So, but that was a big job, and but I do believe it's worthwhile, because now people, when they order, they don't. It's not just the rosé. They fall in love with the whole experience. All the wine looks good on the table. It tastes great. They know they can rely on us. But I do think, I mean, I want to keep making exceptional Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, but I think the rosé opportunity for us is great. Is wonderful. You know, this bottom part of the world, you think the bottom. No, there aren't many vineyards in the Southern Hemisphere making exceptional rosé. Well, it's got to be an opportunity, right?
There's got to be an opportunity. I like the mindset though, like everyone's doing it this way, I'm going to do it this way.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. It's important in business. And look, it's important when you're starting a business. It's important when you're, growing a business. It's important when you're stabilizing a business. You've got to think differently.
Oh, totally.
Because if you're just going to do what everyone else is doing, then you become just like everyone else, right? And I think that's, once again, it's a credit to you and your team, to having something that you want to do, having a vision to do something different.
Yeah.
And then having the ability and being bold enough to take it on, which I think is really cool. What I've loved is over the probably the last year or so, got a good number of friends that love rosé, and you know who I'm talking about. They drink a lot of French rosé, and I've said to them, hey, well, let's try this one. And I've loved giving your bottles, especially the Georgie and the other one, the Blanc de Noir, that won the gold. Yep. So I love giving. And then just wait for the phone call.
Oh.
And they're like, where did you get that wine from? And I'm like, like,
if you know, you know.
Yeah. And I was like, you got something when people call you back, and because they realized it was good. Totally. And it comes back to what you talked about, the quality, and you've got to have quality first, because lots of times you can run marketing, and if the product is not that great, you can really hurt your brand, and plenty of businesses have done that. So getting that quality right first is and obviously there's some things that go into that. Once again, there's some lessons here, doing the hard stuff. It's harder to hand harvest.
Oh, good. It is so expensive. It is unbelievable, the cost. And in a tough harvest, you can imagine, like, if you think of a machine. So when they machine harvest, this machine goes down the row and it goes jigger 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 like a lawnmower, like you're paying, probably about the speed of a ride-on lawnmower, right? And instead, I've got people, at least 2 or 3 people each side of each vine walking down, hand cutting off little. Can you just and then they search out, they hold it. They're like, is it right? Yes. And so everyone, when people say, Kim, what are you doing for harvest? They think if I'm out there. Oh, I'm not out there. Like, first of all, the guys won't let me because I make a mess of it, and then I'll get bored, and then I'll get in the way, and then I'll talk to everyone, and it'll take, and so we'll be broke by the end of it as well. But I think that the thing about that, these guys are incredible. It's tough work, and they are skilled, gifted, and committed and passionate about what they're doing. So that's success.
Hey, it's 2026. You're listening to this podcast and you've probably heard of AI. So here's what I want you to do. We've created a free playbook that'll actually help you with AI and help your business get recommended. So all you need to do is go to the show notes or the link that's in this video, and I'll send you this playbook for free. Yeah. Let's talk about the awards that you won, because I think that's, once again, a great story around, not just... like you go to the wine store and you see all these stickers on wines and that, and they've won awards, but like, how many awards have you won now?
Well, we won at the International Wine and Spirits Challenge. We won first New Zealand company to win a bronze, silver, and a gold in one event. But then we were nominated for best rosé, for the trophy for best rosé producer in the world.
Wow.
And we were also just in a different wine just recently named on Susie and Peter, who are it's one of the highest listening podcasts in the world, wine podcasts, Wine Blast. We were named New Zealand's top rosé for a Central Otago
Nice.
rosé, and then our latest release, which is the Rosé de Scene, the Swan with Hiram Lee's artwork, that's going into Decanter magazine.
Wow.
Which is the most
That's
prestigious
huge.
wine magazine, and
Yeah.
So
How does that sort of winning those awards make you feel?
oh golly, so anyone that's watching that knows me will probably worked out by now. Like I love to talk, and I don't know why I didn't make a career out of it sooner. And but I've truly never been speechless. And when I rang Paul, my mentor, about that moment that we'd been nominated, I received that email, and I said to him, he's always saying to me, "Kim, breathe." We've all heard that before. And so I said, oh, you're not going to have to tell me to breathe. I can hardly breathe. I cannot speak. I was just, it was beyond. And at the time, to be honest, I don't even know, I didn't know what it meant other than it was just beyond my wildest dreams. It was only a few months earlier that I'd set a goal with him that I wanted to make the best rosé in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And now within, that was August, so now we're talking within 6 months. We didn't really realise we'd already done it. Yeah. And it was crazy.
That's awesome. Set a goal, best rosé in New Zealand. I remember you guys talking about that actually, and then all of a sudden...
probably laugh like everyone. Most people were just like, thinking she's crazy.
I tried it by then, so I knew you were onto something. Look, I think the fact that you won bronze, silver, gold was pretty amazing too, right? Like that is a real statement when it comes to what you're doing. When you look back now, and do you think it was worth it as far as everything you'd gone through? Because there's some tough periods there.
Oh yeah.
And the reason I asked this question is because sometimes I think business owners, we gloss over how tough it is sometimes. And I think sometimes you have to remember, and business owners, there'll be business owners listening to this going through tough times. So I want you to just maybe capture a little bit of that and give your honest of what it's been like.
Well, tough times that there've certainly probably been more tough times in the last 5 years than there were good times.
Yeah.
And there were many, many times when I'd cry. I'd pull a cry. One harvest, I pulled over the side of the road at Rangiora and just cried and didn't think we could pick any Georgie,
Yeah.
There was the one wine that we just, there were so many challenges that Takahiro, who owned Mount Fit Estate at the time, he said, "You've had more drama and more problems in 1 year than I've had in 14 years."
Wow.
And I often think, okay, why did I not give up? Oh, there was probably ego.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Yeah,
because and pride and not wanting to fail, and in my heart, I knew that it was what we were doing was a good thing, but I just didn't want to. I don't think I wanted, as much as I wanted to make wine that my friends wanted to drink. I just didn't want to fail. I didn't want anyone to go, "Oh, she's gone off to Waipara on some friggin' find herself in the vines, eat, pray, love, and failed. And failed. I'm like, that would just have been, wouldn't that be awesome? Having a midlife crisis in the middle of a vineyard and fail.
Yeah.
So I think that was just my ego that kept me just there's got to be a way, I think. But then after that, once I got past that, it was just the joy of it and the people that I've met and the community that I have and the incredible way that the friends and customers and everyone have celebrate what we're doing and just the joy of it. I think so. That's what keeps me going. So but also I've really, with a lot of the work that Paul's done has helped me change my mindset.
Yeah.
And that is vital in business. You cannot, I don't think anyone can succeed in business in any way if you hold on to the problem stuff.
Yeah.
You've just got to,
Yeah.
there are lots of tools.
Let's talk about that. What are some of the mindset things that you know now that you didn't know before that have really, really helped you? Because I personally believe mindset is the difference maker,
Totally, yeah.
because, not wanting to fail is actually a mindset as well, and having, sometimes you have to have a bit of ego around that, right? Because otherwise, when something happens, people just quit. They don't have the resilience, right?
Yeah.
So what are some of the mindset things that did you start to lean into?
I think that the number one thing that I've learned is, first of all, to keep calm.
Yeah.
I know it's such a cliche, but it's not to panic. Like when stuff happens, the first thing I'd go into this sort of spiral of like, all the negative things that could happen, right? And so now what I do is I just stop. And then I've got this rule that I live by: no negative thinking for more than 16 seconds.
Nice.
16 seconds. So up to 16 seconds, you can absorb the issue and go, okay, this is what's happened. And then so beyond 16 or 17 seconds, it takes on energy. And then whether it's actually happening or not, it happens. And so
Totally.
So I park it up. So if I acknowledge it. So it's not that I don't think about it. I do accept it. And if I can't think immediately of a way around it, I park it up, and I just try and stay calm. And then I've got some self-talk things, like
Nice.
all is well is my favorite. So
Love it.
So when things are tough and something challenging like this harvest this year, and like just if I can't think straight and I can't find the answer, I'm like, just say to myself, all is well, and just keep that
Love that.
positive frame of mind. And that is a Louise Hay trick, and it's easy because you don't have to write it down on your phone and remember, because anyone can remember all is well.
Yeah, all is well.
All is well. And that just settles my nervous system down.
Love that. A couple of things I heard there is control the controllables, right? Like, what can you control?
Correct.
You can't worry about what you can't control. So what can you control? I love the 16 seconds. We have something similar. It's the pity patty. You're allowed to have your pity patty, cry, whatever about it, but you got to come back. Yeah. We have that in the marketing agency world because it's tough, right? Yeah. So I love that. One thing I always remember, I was talking to Mark Foster on the podcast, and she said, one of the things she always looks at, and it really hit me, it's kind of what you said all as well. She said, what if it all works out?
Oh, totally, yeah.
And I love that because we always go, oh, well, what if this doesn't work out? What if that doesn't? And she said to me, I started looking at, well, what if it all works out? And I love that because just a shift in mindset.
Totally, totally. And I think that the way, that what if it all works out, and then assuming that instead of assuming that it's a problem. And we had a situation where we couldn't pick our Pinot Noir. This is a multiple over $100,000. It's a $250,000 problem. You've had the cost of a whole 12 months worth of cost of growing that vineyard, all the people working on it, and then you can't sell it. You've got no wine to sell. And last year we had a similar challenge, but we were able to, the way that it worked, we were able to harvest early enough to make a rosé from it, because the fruit was in great condition. Yep. And it was ready sooner, and we knew it wasn't gonna last long enough to make Pinot Noir, table Pinot Noir. This year, everything was looking so beautiful, and these beautiful, we've got these old vines, and everything was just immaculate. It was a dream. And then with this rain and weather, and then they call Pinot Noir the heartbreak grape.
Oh, really?
Because it's so tough. It's so hard to grow. It's got really thin skin, and so the rain got in. Basically, that was it. And so I won't lie, I did shed a little tear. We're under the nets, and it's quite dramatic because you're in the vineyard and you're under the nets, and you've got the winemaker and the viticulture guys, and we're all there, and we all know that this fruit can make the most incredible wine, and we're standing there, and we don't even have to say it. We can all just look at it, and we can tell, you can smell that it's not great, and so I did shed a little tear, but I didn't like run off crying, which I might have done in the past. So I acknowledged, and we all said, we were all sad. And then I gave it some space. We all went home and had a cup of tea. And I do quite a bit of grounding, so take my shoes off, stand out in the grass.
Nice.
And if it's really dire like that, grab a tree. So I've been doing some work with Jason Gunn in my public speaking, and he thinks it's the funniest thing about music. Go and find a tree. So in that time when it's really, really challenging like that, you know that from a quality point of view, I had to walk away. That was the right thing to do. We could still have, other companies. I don't know whether in Whitebrook they'd do it, but other companies would still have picked that fruit, added, cleaned it up with some chemical additives, and made pretty good wine, but that's not what I'm about. And so I needed to find a solution. Plus, on top of it, we had a new arrangement with our lead winemaker. So Dom Maxwell put Greystone on the map. Yep. He won a New Zealand Winemaker of the Year twice, best organic Chardonnay in the world, and he stepped out. He's working for his own label, Forager, and then we had an arrangement that he would be our lead winemaker. But part of that was that I agreed that we would continue to be innovative, that we would make continue to be innovative in terms of our winemaking style, in terms of the way that we approach it. So I was thinking, standing out there in my bare feet in the grass, holding a tree, trying to work it all out. And I gave it some space, and I thought, okay, so we don't have the fruit, but we've got this amazing winemaker and we've got a market. And one thing that I do know that my customers, everyone loves Central Otago Pinot Noir.
Yep.
And that certainly everyone loves North Canterbury. They love what we're doing, but there is a connection when you go on holiday or whether it's an engagement or weddings or whatever. There's a very special connection to Queenstown and Central Otago. And so I thought, why don't we look at making a Central Otago Pinot Noir with Dom in North Canterbury. So we did, and he has been down in Central Otago choosing clones.
Wow.
Yeah, and Dr. David Jordan, our viticulturist, he went first. He provided a short list of vineyards, and then he checked it out, and then he gave his recommendation to Dom, and then Dom went down and met each vineyard owner and tasted a whole series of different clones to see if he could make us a North Canterbury made Central Otago. Probably the first time a Central Otago Pinot Noir has been made in North Canterbury.
So how do you do that? Like what happens there? Like,
well, it's not that easy, to be fair. That's probably why people don't do it. We're lucky in New Zealand that we have the restrictions are not are reasonable, in terms of what you can do. So you are allowed to move fruit within regions, which you can't do in France generally. So what it means is that we get a short list of vineyards that have fruit to sell.
Yep.
And then Central Otago Pinot Noir, one of the ways that it has become quintessential is by different clones.
Yep.
And so we choose certain fruit from certain vineyards, and then we have to send our bins down because it's a strange thing, but bins are quite hard to come by. We're also picking. We already do it for our Pinot Gris and for the Blanc de Noir. So we have the logistics set up. So we send bins down, then they hand harvest. They put the bins on a truck.
Yep.
I think it's often refrigerated and then sent directly straight up and met in the winery because it can't be sitting around. So it's a really tight logistical process because those beautiful, delicate little Pinot Noir grapes, you don't want them bouncing around and turning into
mush.
Mush. so it's all about timing. It's all about logistics, and I've got a great logistics and exports manager, Nikki, and she. So
then they start blending them together with the grapes.
Then we harvest them, we'll bring them up to the winery, and then Dom will oversee the direction they they sort it, press it, and then
Good.
hand sort it,
Yeah.
and if that's what's required, and then it goes off to being made. So I'm not that savvy to know whether the cloves are treated differently.
When will this be ready?
Well, this is the thing. This is where rosé is so great. So we will pick in the same week. We'll be picking for our rosé.
Yep.
Now that rosé vintage 2026. So the vintage of the year, the year that the fruit is picked is the year that it becomes. So vintage 2026. So that wine, the rosé, will be ready for Christmas. So it'll be bottled and out by September. The Pinot Noir, we are currently releasing 2021.
Oh wow.
Now, so yes, you can release it sooner, but it takes a couple of years to make it, and then a couple of years in the cellar generally gives it quite an advantage in terms of the development of the wine in the bottle. So if you think of from a business point of view, the cash flow impact. When I shifted our business to predominantly rosé, we were able to, and we were selling direct. We were getting the costs recovered in income within 12 months instead of within 5 years.
So good.
It doesn't seem like brain surgery, does it?
No, but I think, that's part of, being savvy enough in business, doing some things differently, seeing where, the best part about all of this as well is you'd be able to keep the quality so high.
Totally.
So what are some of the things you've learned, like from a I guess a business, from a personal perspective, when you think back?
Oh, and Paul will love this. Keep calm. Regulating your nervous system and exercise. The gym's really important to me in terms of putting. I don't know. When people ask me about this, they say, put yourself first, or all of that.
100%.
But when I look back and I think, well, when I was a mum, when Gabby, my daughter's nearly 21, when she was 8 years old and she was at school and I was racing around and traveling with my job and things, and you think, golly, how would I have how would you have done it differently? So I don't know. And people would say, oh, you always find the time, but I don't know. I know what I can do now.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier now. So I think that I would say, if anyone's listening that does have children growing up and they've got a business and you're just under that pump, I think that the way to do it would be to include your family activities. So if I had it again and I just literally didn't have the time on the weekends, I'd probably have made sure that we did do a bit of that mountain biking or doing active things on the weekend would be just to keep and even at the end of the day or and walks during. I used to do that, but actually my corporate life would be to have I had meetings, I would park the car miles away and flat shoes and walk.
Nice.
An extra 10 minutes in each way to the meeting and back. That's a 20-minute walk.
Yeah.
And you do that twice a day, then you're getting your steps up.
Yeah.
And up and down if you're in a building with stairs. So I do think that and I know that you're big on that too, health and your well-being and nutrition. The biggest trick is the apple trick. The apple day.
Yeah, it keeps the doctor away.
Yeah, every morning on the way to work, I try. That's my breakfast is an apple.
You have an apple.
But it would probably be better if I didn't eat it driving, because you're not supposed to do that. If I ate it in a more balanced sense. But I think that they are the things that do help with your resilience because your physical body is in a better place.
I think that's important, like the resilience factor and keeping calm under pressure. That's something, Paul, he's talked a lot about, and obviously his association with Gilbert and Oka. I think they learned a lot together, those two, and put it together. What have you learned from working with Jason Gunn? Jason's been on the podcast. He's a great guy. We've actually had him come and talk to the team at Digital Influence about speaking and that sort of stuff. What have you learned from working with Jason?
I think the thing that he taught me, well, this is my first podcast, so we'll see at the end of this what the response is, whether or not, but he just said, like, lean into who you are. He said, you don't try and be perfect. Don't try and worry too much about yums and ahs and get caught
Great
up
advice.
on. Yeah, just enjoy yourself and be yourself, and that is just, and as a result, that's really changed with my public speaking. So I've started to do different. I've spoken at a number of different events that are not just about the wine, that are more about the journey, and I've just had more fun. He's just he's helped me just don't care. He said it is what this is the coolest thing. He said that when you're doing a big event and you look into that room, and he said sometimes you can wonder why you're there, or what the benefit is. You think, does anyone really want to hear what I've got to say tonight? But he said that if there's one person in that room that's had a rough day and they picked up part of your story that leaves them feeling better.
Totally.
And then, and that, so that's been amazing. But also his, just the fun. Like, I think that's probably of all of the stuff of the business, if you've got a good team around you and you can laugh and you can and enjoy it, because really we spend a lot of time working.
Yeah. You got to have fun, right? Like, what's the point if you're not having some fun doing what you're doing, right? I love what Jason said there, like, it's one of the reasons we do the podcast, because we know we're going to help one person.
Totally.
The reality is we're helping lots more than that, because I get the emails, I get the texts. A great one the other day from a gentleman who'd been listening to one about the books that and I took a photo of my bookshelf and sent it back to him, and he was like, "Oh,
wow,
now it makes sense," because so there's little things that you can say and do, and like, if you stop doing it because you're worried about what other people would think, then you'd never do it, right?
That's right.
But it's great advice. Just get out there and help one person, because you only need to help that one person, and you need to be that person that shines a light in their day.
Totally.
And if you're having fun, people engage and get it anyway,
Yeah, and if they think you're an idiot, then sure.
I learned a long time ago from a guy called Brad Sugars, who started Action International. He said, what anyone else ever thinks of me is none of my business.
Oh, good point.
And I don't know why it resonated with me, but I heard it at a young enough age that I stopped caring relatively early what people thought about me. And I think that's really, I think today people do worry about, and I get it, I totally get it. They worry too much about what other people, and the reality is most people aren't even thinking about you.
It's true.
They're thinking about themselves.
That's true.
But we get so inside our heads that we don't realize. Kim, what do you reckon a gift that the wine industry has given you? What's a gift? What's something that you really treasure?
The people, I think. It's extraordinary that it is such a tough industry in general, and I think that globally there are different challenges all around the world, but the people that I've met, the kindness and the skill and the belief and the ability to share and like definitely the people with and then the flow on from that is because we're making a product that my friends love and my friends and friends of friends. Then it's an easy world to be in when people love what you're selling. It's easy.
Yeah. Are they buying it from you now though? You're not just dropping it off?
Yes, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. Yeah.
I played cricket with a guy called Clayton Cornelius. Sadly, he passed away last week, and he was a winemaker. And just hearing some of the stories, I played cricket with him, and I didn't know much of him when he became a winemaker. But hearing some of the stories and going to his funeral up in Blenheim last week, and it was really interesting to hear. And these viticulturists and winemakers, that they are scientists.
Oh, totally.
And I kind of didn't realize that. It was really interesting to hear some of the things that they were doing.
He was so clever. His partner, Crystal, is a friend of mine, and she was exactly one of those people that I was referring to. Incredibly, and like you say, they're so humble. Like that's the interesting thing about all of that stuff would have come out at the funeral that you wouldn't have known about it, that he was so talented. You just
But the industry, and I know a few other people in the industry, and I think it's a fascinating industry. I remember going to a place in Waipara, and the guy had it was Pyramid Valley, and there was a story and they were trying to find. There was an American guy who's trying to find this piece of land or this piece of dirt that was similar to what they had in France. Anyway, he went all around New Zealand, came to the Pyramid Valley. They didn't test this part. Ran all back around New Zealand, and then read something in a toilet where this piece of said something about this land for sale. Went and tested the land, and that was the land on Pyramid Valley, but it was a different block, and it was same as the land that was in France. And they created this blend of grape, and I was fascinated that like this is happening here in New Zealand.
Oh, totally.
You know, like we have a world-class wine industry. I think probably it needs some world-class different thinking when it comes to how we market it. You know, I think we had a great run for a number of years.
Oh, totally.
And we probably, you know, in some areas it's probably got where everyone else has caught up with us.
I think it's that next generation. I think people have said that because we're X, Gen X, are we?
Yeah,
Are we?
I don't know anything about that sort of stuff.
What's after us, millennials
Yeah.
and Gen Z, right?
Yeah.
So I think that that the fine, definitely. Oh my golly, I'm a huge fan of fine wine, obviously, but I think that the markets that the RTDs that have captured and convenience, all of that. They're listening to the consumer, you know, and we looked at a rosé in a can.
Yep.
But it's expensive, and so kind of parked that up in the meantime because, I think good wine's expensive, and it doesn't mean merely put it in a can or a bottle, but so that made it a little bit tricky. But I think that from a marketing point of view, when you go, everything that you would say with all of your clients is that you've got to have the right product, but you've got to understand your market, and I think that the markets have shifted, are changing, and I get really excited when younger people wouldn't normally drink wine, but I like your rosé. I've had messages from people in Auckland, particularly when we were, and we do it here at Mods too. We can have wine served, and they'd say, I'd get a message saying, and then find me on the website and say, I didn't even like wine, but I like your rosé, and I think that's the thing about the products that match the market, and I think that wine can evolve in a way to meet the style and the lifestyle, the lighter style, like lower alcohol.
Yeah. I find it interesting that you say about people not liking wine, and so because you've given us some wine and I've given it to the team, and people are like, some of these young people are like, I don't drink wine.
Yes.
I was like, okay, we'll just give it away. I'm giving it to you. Kim's giving it to us. Enjoy it. Come back like a week later. Hey, Scott, that wine, that was really, really nice. I
took it home to mum and dad. They said mum and dad.
And they've never drunk wine before, and they were like, "Oh wow, this was really, really nice." And I thought, I'm glad they tried it, because, like, you got to actually give stuff like that a go to understand from your own perspective if you like it or not. And I'm glad that they did. People that aren't drinking are drinking your rosé and going, oh, that's really nice. And I think you have a position in the market, and I think you have an opportunity in the market to grow. I know we talked about you're looking at creating more of a membership. Is that still happening? Are you still doing that?
Yeah. So originally I had this.
This is your chance to pitch, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, originally, I'm still kind of a work in progress, and I'd be happy for any feedback on this. So originally we were looking at, the original intention was that as we grow, I wanted to protect or nurture, support, and thank our existing customer base. And part of that, I thought, was to have a regular delivery. Part of that would be part of to make it a little bit easier. So if you knew that you're getting your wine delivered every 2 weeks or 4 weeks, and we have that set up on the website, but I think we're kind of working through. There's still, even though there's no cost, no hooks, no none of that, there's still, I think, and I get it myself when I caught up on a subscription of any kind. People get a little bit, and so it feels a little bit, old school wine club. So we're working on the marketing of what that would look like. But I do think, and it's big in the States, is this bulk, not not buying the bulk stuff. So Amazon have this bulk service where all your bulky stuff gets delivered to your house.
Yeah.
And it's often non-perishable or whatever. So I think that for me personally, especially if you're having a party or you're entertaining, the rattle of the wine bottle in the supermarket trolley is never a good time. and I find it even with bottled water, even if I don't know, maybe I'm sensitive to it, but I think the idea is that you can have regular wine delivered, it's something that we're working on. So know that every couple of weeks. We've got a couple of trial customers and they love it. Yeah.
I think in the summer, like perfect, you should launch it next spring.
Yeah, good idea.
And let the market decide.
Yeah, true.
Lots of times, if you've got supply, let the market decide whether they want to buy it in that way or not. And the market will tell you, just like the market will deliver new customers last week, whatever it is.
Yeah.
The market will tell you if that's the service they want.
Totally.
Lots of times we guess too much of what we think the market wants. But
and
until
we overanalyze, right? And
overanalyze.
your head, and that's probably that's the whole thing.
But if I wanted to buy you wine today, where would I go?
Onto the website, so dww.co.nz.
Yep. So or go to Valentine's.
Or Valentine's, if you, yep.
But go online, I reckon, and you'll deliver it pretty fast.
Oh, generally overnight.
There you go.
We don't want to promise something. Sometimes we do the same day if we can.
Yeah.
Overnight, and if it's pretty much overnight, and we'll always do our best if it's ordered on a Thursday to be there for the weekend.
If someone likes French rosé,
Yep.
what wine should they buy of yours?
The Blanc de Noir
Blanc de Noir
or the Georgie.
or the Georgie. If you've never tried rosé before, but you want to give it a go, which one should they buy?
Classic rosé, which is $25 as well. It's called
Perfect.
the Rosé.
The rosé. There you go. There's some wine recommendations. Kim, this has been a fantastic talk. Like we could be going for hours too. Like we could keep going, but I think we've covered everything that I wanted to get across. Where can people get a hold of you if they want you to come and speak or do some other stuff? Is it LinkedIn or what's the best place?
LinkedIn or on the website. Kim at dww.co.nz.
Okay.
All my contact details are on the website.
Okay, we'll put all the details on there.
Yep.
So people can contact you. Have you got any other things words of wisdom that you wanted to share?
I think, at a time now where there's a lot of tough stuff happening around for everyone, that to do things that fill you with joy or make you happy, and some of those are the simplest things, and often I think sometimes it's a good idea to put logic aside. It wasn't logical for a small emerging wine company to become a sponsor of a charity, to be philanthropic. From a logical point of view, and that's one of the best things that I've done, being involved with Inspire, because all of the stuff that we've talked about, the awards, all of that, none of that, I wouldn't have done any of that on my own. And so the support and but just that feel good, do stuff that feels good, and if stuff doesn't, just walk away. I think I really wish I had known that. Whether it was in my corporate career when there's drama going on or tough stuff, or whether it was, trying to get the dog and kids and stuff into the car. It's just like it doesn't have to be hard. And I think that I wish I'd known that when I was younger.
Yeah, it's a great insight though, right? Because the way I look at it, you need to be part of the solution or part of the problem, and like you can look for the good in most things, right? If you look hard enough. And I think one of the key things is get around good people. And that's what you've done.
Absolutely.
The Inspire Foundation, you're around really good people. You're around people thinking differently, right?
Yeah.
They're not getting their vibe from the 6 o'clock, whatever it is, they're not getting that,
That's exactly right.
They're around people that are doing things, they're around high performance, and then you're around the group of even the sponsors and the people that are coming. they are kind of doing the same thing.
Oh,
They're building
totally.
things, they're
Yeah.
employing people, they're out there, they're trying to smash their goals, which is exciting. So, once again, you picked a good target market to be around, right?
Oh, totally. And I think that, for me, and also moving into the QB studio, a shared office space, I was
Yes.
living at work, which was,
Another great decision.
that community that's there, and they're actually involved with Inspire, and Jake, the GM, is
Yeah.
based there, and so, but then all sorts of other things that flow. But it's the people thing. I think, you did right that if people don't believe in you, and in business, right? If you have a business and you believe in what you're doing and you know it's working, and there are people in your life that disagree or aren't supporting it, either block them out. I don't mean like block them. I mean, just
No.
don't
Block the
take
noise
that
out.
on. Yeah, block the noise out and stay and surround yourself with people that believe in you, because I think that's where the ideas come. That's where the success comes from, is in you'll have a community around you in whatever way, shape or form. And it often comes from a least expected way, like it did for me. But I think that, I find that when I walk into QB every day, oh my God, I just feel this incredible, uplifting, supportive environment. It's really cool, and younger.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about that is that it keeps you young, because they're all paperless and high-techy and all that stuff. And so I'm getting better at that.
I think you're at the journey. I want to congratulate you on making some tough decisions and starting something, and I think, you've really thought differently about a few things that have made a massive difference. And if you look, I'd stress to people, go back and listen to some of this, and then analyze some of the decisions that you need to make in your business, because there's some things that you need to probably start doing that are the opposite of what you are doing. And I think, you're just getting started. You're on your, how many years into your 200-year wine journey, I think you're doing some things. You're going to shorten that time span up, and prove, was it Rothschild that he was wrong?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the coolest part. So, hey, appreciate you
Thank you.
taking the time to come on. All right. Hey, you've heard Kim's story. Now I want you to share it. If you're on LinkedIn, tag us in on LinkedIn, but share this post. Share any of the videos that we come on. We really appreciate people that share our content. I think this month we'll have our highest downloads ever. Not that those parts of it don't matter. The fact that you're sharing it matters, because that's what happens when you do share. More and more people get to listen to these stories. More and more people get to get inspired. And New Zealand needs that right now. God, I think the actual world needs that right now. We need more positive people out there, pushing a positive, let's grow, let's go agenda. So I really appreciate you sharing the podcast. Until then, you need to have fun, you need to take action, and you need to, as always, celebrate your victories.
Totally. Thank you. Thanks.